Ever since the Joint Chiefs of Staff were sent to hell, the Pentagon lobby hasn't been quite the bustling place it used to be. And a lot of the traffic it does get is dragged through, across the floor and on through the airlock doors. Traffic has been further lessened by the fact that these people rarely come back out. Without a side view, you'd never guess that the person sitting behind the reception desk is actually part of the reception desk. Usually they're genderless, but this one is apparently a custom model.
Say, I like the cut of your jib. What say you ditch the dame and you and I go ashore?
I don't believe this. The last one to program her must have been a sailor.
Admiral.
He must have been at sea a long time. Let me adjust her. Idiom change, receptionist, mature professional, non-military.
How may I direct you? How may I direct? How may I? How may I direct you?
This implant is permanently attached.
Ever since the Joint Chiefs of
This implant is that doesn't work. This implant is This implant is
Ever since the Joint Chiefs of Staff were sent to hell,
This implant is permanently attached. That doesn't work. This implant.
That worked.
ever The palatial office of the former Army Chief of Staff looks big enough to muster the troops. The paintings of various world capitals look fitting, but the tapestry behind the desk looks like the flag of some other, darker force. Clearly a demon who revels in his uniform, which is the proverbial full metal jacket and then some.
Wait a minute. We nuked you. I saw you. We were...
What the hell's going on?
I was playing with you. Why, you were in hell, man. How do you think you get to hell? You got to be dead in the first place.
Something's fishy here.
Of course it is. But you're barking up the wrong tree. Pazuzu's the one you ought to be watching out for. He sent you to me, didn't he? He sent you to find out where I get my weaponry. And how did Pazuzu get you to approach me? Very simple. He has something you want. But do you actually think he's going to give it to you just because he said he would? So I tell you again, you are on the wrong side. No, the long and the short of it is this. If you want to get something out of Pazuzu, you're going to have something on him.
I suppose you're gonna make us fight you again before you give us something on him.
Much as I like to, lady, it's unnecessary. How strong are your allegiances to him?
They're non-existent.
I thought as much. You two are talented, but you're no more than mercenaries. In any case, what you probably don't know about Pazuzu is that he likes to play mobster. His biggest service to the mob is that he maintains a hell pit where the mob can hide hostages and stolen goods.
Hostages?
That's when warring mobs agree to parlay and each give a hostage to Pazuzu to ensure good faith negotiations. He's got a couple right now, as a matter of fact. He's also got a kidnapped victim the mob's holding for ransom. Crystal Getty, heir to the limitless Getty fortune. If anything were to happen to her, like if she were to escape, Pazuzu would be in hot water with the mob.
Useful information, if we know where this hell pit is.
Well, son, I've been thinking of sending you two back to hell in return for you freeing that disgrace to the uniform, Mangini. Only thing is, this time you'll be prepared. Could we meet on the battlefield once more? Are you ready to go to hell? To Hades, then! Attack!
Hey, what do you want from me? I got a card game here.
Beautiful's not around, is he?
Yeah, he's over there taking an acid bath. Who you guys supposed to be? This is a hell of a place to be taking a stroll. That's a good one.
The jokes you practice mark you funny, but I'm tired of wit and want your money. Do your deed and make the pot less scanty. Shut your mouth and up the ante.
Alright, there you go. We're all in.
I recognize this guy, Gid. That's Delmonico Ferlinghetti. He's a capo in the Ciccio family.
Yeah, you're right. And the other guy's Carlos Portillo with the Colombians. Italians, Colombians, and the Apache Sioux fusion have been shooting holes in each other for years. Savage turf wars over empathics trading. I take it these two are willing visitors to this charming pit.
I'll go 50.
I'll see it. That's right. My good friend Delmonico and I are voluntary hostages. Our two organizations are trying to work out our differences. Live in peace.
Ah, bold openings. Your cards must be nifty, but talk is cheap. I'll raise you 50. I stare right through your poker faces. Up my sleeve, I've 50 aces.
Yeah, peaceful coexistence. There's your 50, here's another, you scaly little bastard.
Madre Dios, no offense, Chemo, but it's too hot for me. I'm out. I can't figure these empathics, men paying to cry like little girls or to be frightened out of their wits. What happened to simpler pleasures?
Help me! Do something!
Keep her quiet, Chamo. I'm trying to think about my cards here.
Quiet your please or make me nasty. I'll rip your heart with angioplasty. My cigar burns bright and left the pace. Brighter still, jammed in your face. As for you, my wagering Italiano, hold your seat, hit the Italiano. I see your bet, and what's more, stand tall. The plot's afoot, I beckon, I call.
3 jacks, Chamo.
Well, a worthy hand. The table is hush. But 3 jacks don't beat my royal flush. Don't a flush. Do I lie and sell? Don't check the deal. The deck's from hell.
Lousy cheating demon. This waiting around wouldn't be so bad if you let us win a few hands.
Although most of the hostages of this hell pit are temporary, the various accoutrements of the room, the cauldrons of scalding liquid, the compression tower with limbs sticking out, suggest tortures beyond the imagination. A young woman's eyes bulge in pain as the garrote stretches the vertebrae in her neck to the breaking point. A rough, older Italian man, stripped to his undershirt, plays cards with a second man and a small demon. Other than heavy sweats, he seems comfortable. A dour old man plays cards with another man and a small demon. Unlike the other man who seems to be enjoying himself, Portillo wears a pained expression. A short cigar-smoking demon sits on a bone-stuffed pillow and deals. A thin sheen of fire plays over the surface of his scaly skin. He draws hard on the cigar, but exhales no smoke. He has a disturbing minty odor.
I can't give this thing away.
Getty's freed. What perfidy is this? I'll have her bound in the dungeon of this. Turncoats, you don't work for the boss. Surrender the girl, or your lives are your loss.
You come over here and try to put me back in that thing. I'll dunk you in one of those acid vats, you little
Remember where you are, Crystal. Cut your losses and run.
The palatial office of the former
Damn, it's locked. Damn, it's locked.
That worked.
The heroic Rachel Brock.
Damn, it's locked. Damn, it's locked. Damn, it's locked.
That worked.
The hush of privacy clings to this room, as if the dedicated occupant has worked there, sweated there, worried there for a long time. There's the couch, the worn leather chair. Even the computer seems to have taken on his personality.
That doesn't work.
The Holy Trio, Belial, Beelzebub, and Mephistopheles. The demons continue to trouble me, especially the unholy triumvirate, Belial, Beelzebub, and Mephistopheles. I realize, of course, that the hand cannot eradicate supernatural immortal beings. They are all a part of God's plan. The plan that Solaks enact here on earth. So according to the Imperator's direction, we condemn people to serve under these hell laws. We send them to their lairs to serve their sentence. Pazuzu and Asmodeus, I made a run with a squad of rookies today, and we caught a blatant sinner, a man who has been haunting the Ford Theater area, exhibiting himself. We had to let him go. Seems he works for Asmodeus. We are never supposed to prosecute people involved with the Hell Syndicate. Asmodeus, the demon filmmaker. Or Pazuzu, a.k.a. Mr. Beautiful, gambler, drug dealer, wise guy. Don't know why we can't persecute these guys. Besides the fact that they are actually demons, and we probably can't catch them if we wanted to. They must fit into the plan somehow. Mr. Beautiful. Captain Thorne decided to use Beautiful to complete the case we were building against the Smoke Cowboys, a gang of technology outlaws. I had a scrub team arrest the Cowboys. We charged them with violating the artificial realities ban, and Beautiful supplied the judge with all the evidence we needed to send the Cowboys to Belial's pits. Dean Sterling. Some of the men are suspicious about a freelance demon hunter we are monitoring. His name is Dean Sterling. He has been having some real success. He eliminated a score of minor and mid-level demons. And now we hear he's after the big ones. Asmodeus, Beautiful, any of them that are brazen enough to walk the earth. It is understood in the department that some of the demons are untouchable, but Sterling has the freedom to choose his target at will. As for me, I will neither hinder or assist Mr. Sterling. He has made his presence felt, and the demons are nervous about him. As far as I'm concerned, he's a genuine good guy.
Damn, it's locked.
That worked.
Massimo Eddy. Last night there was another Massimo Eddy broadcast, another vision of hell. Massimo is the first man who was damned to hell and lived to tell of his experience. There was Eddie, paint splashed on his face, ranting about his trip to hell, bursting into sudden screams of the colors. Then, ooh, fire, orders of flame, orders of flame. Ooh, he would speak, and the demons that possesses him would taunt him from within. Ooh, from within, a terribly frightening exhibit that reminds viewers what there is to fear about hell. Periodically, the hand drags him out to broadcast his bizarre visions to the nation. He has developed a cult following of people expecting wisdom from the mad Massimo. I fear those people will be disappointed. I doubt this lost soul has anything to teach. ARC. Reality Containment was outraged after two of its agents were targeted in the latest Scrub Team action. I don't know what the executives in the Five Fingers had in mind when they include Gideon Ashanti and Rachel Brack on the scrub list. There were ways of making them disappear without setting ARC and transgressions at odds with one another. The question remains, why? What were Ashanti and Brack involved in that demanded that they be eliminated in such a high-profile fashion? Rumors are that the order to kill them came directly from the Imperator. ARC.
Jean Samouchois.
Dean Sterling. Some of the men are suspicious about a freelance demon hunter we are monitoring. His name is Dean Sterling. Dean Sterling. Some of the men are suspicious of Senator Aaron Burr. I just received this month's collection of Senator Burr's sighting from our agents in the field. Amazing woman. Amazing woman, this Burr. She's seemingly several places at once. Of course we know she's inside the British Embassy here in Washington, where she has been granted political refuge. But we have discovered that there are ways in and out of the embassy. and on several occasions, Burr has escaped the embassy, thus feeding the paranoia among ARC agents that she is everywhere. The Citizens Freedom Front. The recent sweep of the CFF shadow government leaves the so-called Freedom Front effectively crippled. The CFF has been fanatically dedicated to their cause. Our best estimate of their membership is in the thousands, although the leadership proper is small and cohesive. CFF history. What we know about the CFF is extensive, but not particularly useful. They were founded after the Imperator's ascension by a quartet consisting of a Methodist minister, a Catholic priest, a rabbi, and a Muslim imam. They quickly moved into political activity when they were joined by former government figures, including Irwin Burr, who had resigned rather than serve under the hand. Night of the Titans. Transgressions recently launched dozens of scrub teams on a coordinated sweep of the CFF Shadow Cabinet, a strike against the resistance that has been over a year in the making. Codename Night of the Titans. It's a truly historical occasion. Randall Singh. Probably the most interesting figure we have nailed to our sweep operation from a front operative we have been keeping under close observation for a while now, a man named Randall Singh. I'm not certain of his status with the CFF, but we suspected him of being fairly important. Townsend Ellers. The sweep of the CFF Shadow Cabinet also netted Townsend Ellers, a former British ambassador. We believe he has been helping Burr to establish a diplomatic corps in waiting and has been consulting her on world economic matters as well. We suspect he has been a regular conduit between Burr and foreign governments concerning efforts to apply international pressure on the hand. Brett Carew. Perhaps the only dissident whose apprehension I regretted was Brett Carew's. Carew is one of the 3 or 4 writers Solox has banned, and she has been apprehended in the recent CFF sweep. The charges against her are weak, just rumors that she writes some of Senator Burr's pirate broadcasts. Eddie Commerce. I confess I do not get the joke. Melissa and I saw Commerce perform years ago when he was legal. I do not find this man to be funny, much less someone capable of being a subversive figure. The filthy language of personal attack against the Imperator, the monologues about free expression. I thought it a mistake to include him in the recent crackdown. Arrests like these only risk making martyrs of people who pose no threat to the hand. ARC. Reality Containment was outraged after 2 of its agents were Rachel Brack and Gideon Ashanti. Looking through the backfiles today, I found one I had on Brack and Ashanti. I had forgotten, but I had seen I tried to recruit them myself a couple of years ago when I heard about the great job they were doing at ARC. But to outduel the scrub team, they were obviously more talented than any of us realized. The work at Ark was top-notch, even though they had a reputation of going easy on minor criminals. Still, their character was somewhat questionable. Gnostic. In ancient times, the Gnostics were heretical sects whose beliefs were at odds with early Christianity. They believed that human transcendence were directly achievable. The Neos may be just one more group of cyberspace outlaws with designs on founding virtual colonies in the global net. If the latter is true, transgression will scrub them. We may do that in any event if the need for a high-profile buzz arises. Psionic League. Of the dozens of illegal operations we monitor, the Psionic League is the most dangerous threat to stability, especially if the leader, Columbus Pistola, should ever decide to politicize his organization. The League has been tolerated at this point because it is the inspiration for similar groups. No one better knows the danger of unrestrained psionic ability than Spatola. He's one of the most powerful psionics on the planet. His life is a case study of the hardships that psionics endure when forced to master their abilities alone. His early hardships led to the founding of the League and his near-fanatical belief in the benevolent use of the power. Eschatology Incorporated. Recent intelligence reveals that Hercule Ruestar and his researchers are no closer to learning any of Hell's essential secrets. Their care serves his purpose. His obsession with Hell, his attempt to map it and to catalog its horror help to maintain the public sphere. Meats. Data from reality container shows an increase in illegal attempts to reproduce the human tissue lab of new corporeals biologics. Officially named service units, New Corp's infamous products are widely referred to as meats. Meats epitomize the relentless perversion of God's creations of human hands. As so with many nightmares, it all started with good intentions. The goal of providing servant machines for the masses was lofty and laudable. But when the meats were introduced into the market, the public was outraged. The meats were twisted parodies of humanity, flesh without souls. Within 6 months, the meats were a moral scandal. When several developed cancer, it was more cost-effective for New Corporeal to discard the entire tissue casing than it was to perform surgery. One hate group began to burn meats in public. The meats were withdrawn from the market and New Corporeals closed. Now, outlaw entrepreneurs seek to revive the technology for use in foreign markets. Such criminal efforts are precisely what transgressions and ARC were formed to combat. We had an inter-office Hola conference call from the Imperator today. The Imperator discussed the recent actions against the CFF. Solax pointed out that the CFF was still operating. the sweep had failed to net Aaron Burr, and that an even greater effort must be made. The entire performance was classic Solox. It reminded me of the Imperator's ascension to power, when Solox would inspire tens of thousands of people at mass rallies, saying things that would make the crowd leap to its feet and roar its devotion. When Solox finally ascended to power, it was as if Earth had become a new planet. People were sick of how society had crumbled into a crime-ridden, godless, free-fire zone. The Hand of God proved an apt name because that was the way Solox promised to administrate justice, as if enacted by the Lord himself, and it has come to pass. When Parallax Entertainment's breakthrough decking technologies permitted the company to create a home entertainment system that provided a direct interface between the user's nervous system and the machine's software, the result was the ActiDeck. ActiDeck programs plunge the users into virtual reality worlds for a price. Anything was possible, but the price proved to be steep. The Parallax ad campaign had claimed that the direct interface between nervous system and circuitry allowed the player to change the machine. What they didn't know or weren't telling was that the machine was changing us. When details of the parallax effect broke, the public outrage was intense. The issue dovetailed perfectly with the Hand of God's plan for seizing power and was a significant tool in their campaign against technology. Parallax Code. The Parallax Code is a highly secret series of computer code modules that made cyberspace a reality. To my knowledge, the source code for Parallax has never been discovered.
The attempt to study spiritual truths has not yet transcended matter. The Gnostics of 2095 need a lot of stuff to pursue their studies. The former church that serves as their headquarters is crammed with scanning equipment, computers, and various other instruments of intellectual pursuit. A bookish woman nervously sneaks glances at you. You see an intense, exotic man, whom you recognize as Professor Zaxton Coronary.
Have you spoken with Professor Coronary?
Should we have?
He's very particular about who he allows us to speak with. He's going to be upset that you even found our cloisters here.
And there they are, Gideon Ashanti and Rachel Brock, fugitives from a system they served with faith and ardor. Once pure and righteous, now expelled and hunted.
What the hell? How'd this guy make us? His write-up doesn't have him a looker.
Mystery to me, hon. Give it, Professor. How do you know who we are?
I could ask the same question, you know? If the transgressor's office knows of this location...
Feel free to panic. They know about it. They're just waiting till it's your turn to be the scrub of the month. Don't kid yourself. You're like everybody else, living at the whim of the Hand.
We track what happens in places like reality containment. When the Hand orders 2 ARC investigators scrubbed, that's news at the underground.
So you know us. That just makes things easier. You know we're not working for ARC.
Quite so. Very well. I am listening then.
Ms. O'Connor was killed the same night the scrub team came for us.
I know that, Miss Brock. She was murdered while she slept, killed by the people you used to work for.
Believe it or not, we're trying to find out why Deirdre O'Connor and 5 other people were scrubbed on the night we were attacked. If we can establish some connection between the victims, it might help us to clear ourselves.
There's no mystery here. Deirdre, along with another scholar, Wickersham Dodge, worked European and Asian black markets for virtual realities. She was good, too. She'd just picked up a dozen dreamscape realities in Istanbul. But at the same time, the Istanbul foray was reckless. She was reckless. We knew the hand was watching, that virtual media dealing in part with a legitimate religion could risk bringing the authorities down on us. She didn't care. It was as though she thought she couldn't die. She was an unusually physical woman. I suppose she thought she could fight her way out of any problem.
She was combat trained?
Not that I know of. But if she was, she would have been fearsome. She was, as I said, quite physical. Over 6 feet tall, quite athletic. But I know little about her past. You should speak with David. He's a novice here who worked as her assistant. Yes, I speak Latin and several other languages fluently.
We could have a use for that. The hand indulges in Latinate phrasing for much of its encryption.
I know, yes I know. And you need a translator. But my services are not without fee. I have a job that requires someone with your skills.
What skills, Professor?
Skills that allowed you to evade a scrub team.
Don't ask us for a replay, Professor. Adrenaline kicked in. Reflexes took over, and we got really lucky. We're not mercs, if that's your angle.
What I have in mind is much safer. A simple breaking and entering. There's an antiquities collector named Blystock, who lives in a penthouse near L'Enfant Plaza. He has an 18th century manuscript, the Blaze Parchment, that we must examine. I see what you're thinking. The Gnostics don't usually resort to thievery, but Blystock obtained the parchment illegally. It was supposed to have been included in a secret auction in an exurban slum outside Jakarta. I was there to bid on it, but it never came up for sale. I learned later that Blystock had stolen the parchment en route to Jakarta.
Blaze Parchment? This is familiar. We've come across this before.
Blaze was a scientist and philosopher, much at odds with the Enlightenment world in which he lived. Blaze's visionary work is said to have presupposed the essential structures of cyberspace. Unfortunately, his work was never published. Only this original copy remains. We must examine it. If you want my service as a translator, I'll have your service as a thief. Bring me the Blaze Parchment and I'll help you.
It seems fitting that where the altar used to stand in this former church, the Gnostics have mounted their main computer bank. Amidst the hush, heads bowed to their computers, this is where the core of their efforts are focused. A solemn boy in threadbare clothes stands near Deirdre O'Connor's desk. A square-jawed, decidedly unscholarly-looking man who nevertheless has the demeanor of one committed to work and study.
Is this where O'Connor worked? You can tell us, boy. We're on the same side. Sort of.
There's nothing to search for now. Nothing to learn here. She was going to teach me so many things. How to fly in cyberspace, and how to explore the virtual in search of the real. Now she's dead. It's too late.
Maybe not, son. There might be something. Her decking unit, for instance?
Your goons got that when they killed her. It's probably tagged and collecting dust in some Pentagon sub-basement. Forget about it. You can't search her desk until Professor Coronary tells me I have to let you.
Let's just knock this runt over.
I'm inclined to agree, Rach, but we're already wanted. Any violence, and Coronary could turn us in. Hell, he may do that anyway. Giving us to the hand would certainly buy him a lot of goodwill with transgressions.
If you're with transgressions or ARC, you've come to the wrong place. I won't sing to the people who killed my friend. You can kill me before I do that.
Strong claim to be making to strangers, pal. If we were from transgressions, we'd take you up on that. But we're not the heat.
Right now, I'm not doing a whole hell of a lot because my partner was killed. I'm just going through some of the data she was working with. Dee and I maintained and monitored covert hookups with international networks and bulletin boards. Not an easy job with ARC programmers raiding the boards looking for unauthorized hooks they can trace to their source.
Yeah, we're familiar with their ops. They trace the origin of the link and then they send the stormtroopers in. What were you searching for?
We were pushing the edge. Dee insisted we not play it safe. We were trying to score cyberspace decks in the European black market. Not easy since Europe's well within the hand's grasp.
No wonder O'Connor got whacked. ARC's got knuckles all over the continent. Only hope of scoring a deck is to launder it through a third party in the Mideast or Russia.
Why not ask her for that information?
What are you talking about? She's dead.
Yes, but she lives on, courtesy of her own handiwork. She spent months on this. Wouldn't tell me how she did it. And I haven't been able to crack the source code yet. How she did this with current technology is a mystery to me.
So what is it?
She programmed a source code that simulates her own personality, which is impressive enough. But then, she also digitized her own voice, enunciating English language phonemes, and wrote programming routines that compose the phonemes into words on the fly. Amazing stuff! I don't know where she learned how to do this.
You're saying we can talk to her?
There's no visual output yet, but listen here.
Hey, Wick, what's booting your system?
There's some people here asking about you and about our work.
I assume they're legit. You gotta watch who you face with, Wicks. You're too trusting.
This is strange. We're talking to a dead person.
Yeah, freaking scrub teams wasted my proto. But the essential Deirdre is powered up and online. This has the potential to blow away an anti-deck interface.
So now what? We just asked this computer why O'Connor was killed?
Why not? Deirdre, can you shed any light on why the Hand chose now to kill you?
Hand need a reason to whack a techno-anarchist, post-humanist, entrepreneurial, free spirit obsessed with actuating the transhuman?
Get lost before I get so...
Excuse me, not to intrude, but did I hear Professor Coronary say you were going to retrieve the Blaze parchment from Blystock's clutches? Oh, I hope that's true. It would be a start to your redeeming yourselves for your ARC service.
You can shove redemption, Bookworm. We'll settle for survival. Relax, Bookworm. We spoke to Coronary. I wouldn't say we're welcome guests, but he knows we're not here to trash the place.
We're trying to discover why O'Connor was scrubbed. Any ideas?
Dee was, what you'd, she was a trodehead. She could jack into cyberspace. Oh, she had a deck that she claimed to have jury-rigged. She was very good, too. Knew her way around. She, used to work for the Sustenance Authority until she, well, as she put it, edge-surfed out of transglobe culture.
That computes, Gid.
I suppose so. In a limited sense, it does. O'Connor was a natural target. So was an eschatologist like Schoenbrunn. And O'Leary owned a speak with Sinn Féin affiliations. But I still don't see the link between us and these subverts.
You'd think the psionics could just phone it in, but no, they maintain this general storefront reception area at their headquarters in order to interface with the public. And the posters, especially the one over the door, are a reminder to members and recruitables alike that psionic powers can be as dangerous to the individual as to society.
Looks like you're working hard.
Columbus pushes us past our endurance and then some, but it's the only way to develop our powers. Talk to him yourself. You'll see. He's in the next room with Susie Toast, who's an ideal example of the work Columbus does here. Columbus had a big effect on her. She's become one of his most trusted assistants. It's almost like a father-daughter relationship between them now. I'm sorry, but speaking with you is distracting me. I'm afraid I'll drop the ball, and I'm working on a new personal endurance record. Not now. This is getting heavy. Not now. Not now.
Hey, folks, zero in on Kate. She's had that ball moving for close to half an hour. Spatola's put her on an endurance circuit. She's to keep the ball going for as long as she can.
What about you? You're a telepath as well?
I'm not a mover or a looker. I'm a rare one, a synesthete. My perception of sensory data blends so that I perceive one sense in terms of another. Colors taste, sounds are tactile, smells prompt visions, and I can never predict how the senses will sort themselves.
Fascinating. That must be difficult to live with.
Damn straight. I couldn't hold a job. Tried working in a restaurant, but I couldn't take customers' orders. They would ask for burgers and fries, and I would register it visually as big yellow splotches dripping with grease. Tried driving a cab once, but I kept experiencing the road as a taste, and it gagged me so bad I couldn't drive.
You were experiencing the road as a taste?
And it was awful. Tasted like rotted flesh and motor oil. Took days to get that out of my mouth. Well, that was the end of my career as a driver. I was fast-tracking to derelict status before Columbus took me in and taught me mastery over my powers.
The Thinkers Think Tank, the strategic planning room for the Psionic League's Brain Trust. The need for a vidscreen shows perhaps the limits of their power. The globe sticking out of the conference table like an exposed brain, their desired...
Can I help you with something? Are you psionic seeking help using your gifts?
We aren't psionic, and actually, we've come to help you.
I'm not aware that I need any help.
You won't know either until it's too late. The hand scrub teams don't usually call ahead to check if it's convenient for them to stop by.
You say the hand wants to kill me. You've got my interest. Keep talking.
No orders have been issued yet, but your activities are giving some high-ups in the transgressor's office the shakes.
The hand of God has nothing to fear from us. We aren't political, and we're sworn to never use our powers for gain. I thank you for the warning, however.
I heard what you and Columbus were talking about. You need psionic help?
Looks that way, but from what Columbus was talking about, it doesn't look like we're going to find it here.
Don't be too sure about that. I owe Columbus a great deal. But not all of us are as strict as he is about non-intervention.
So you're volunteering to help us out of this mess with the hand? What's in it for you?
I'm not the one who's going to help you. That would violate my principles as well and cost me Columbus's trust and friendship. Now there's someone else who might help you. Someone who has already fallen from grace. Someone I still might redeem. His name is Splits Magnola. He was a member of the League once, but Splits was a free spirit. He was jazzed on mind surfing, couldn't resist the touch of another's mind, and he couldn't submit to Columbus's authority.
You read a few minds, big deal. I'd probably do the same thing if I were psionic.
It's not as simple as that. The power is seductive. Splits started out innocently enough. Skim a woman's mind to see if she was interested. Project a scan during a card game to see if anyone was cheating. But it's a small step from there to planting an urge in a woman's mind or looking at somebody's cards through their eyes. Or playing all the hands at the table. Making people throw away cards they should have kept. Things like that. Once you're inside, you flash on the brain's unending possibilities. You can't resist exploring. And Splits was careless, lacked the mastery to be gentle. He would make mistakes. Mistakes that left permanent brain damage.
Alright, so Splits is a Rudy and he got blackballed from your club. Why should we want to hook with a disrep like him? And what's your share in this?
Splits isn't the lost cause Columbus thinks he is. I know him. He isn't evil, just weak.
Know him? You mean you two were lovers? Sorry, girl, we don't have time to run love errands. You want your boyfriend back? You go get him.
Oh, you're a tough one, aren't you? I wouldn't have him back if he wanted me. Sex is different between psionics. We share countless connections. Body entwined with body. Mind pressed hard against mind. I've been inside his head. And I'd never trust him enough to love him. But I know that I can't let him destroy himself. The last we heard of him, he was involved with a gang of psionic psychotics, calling themselves the Menials. They worked the black market for empathic resonances in order to fund their drug habits. If you can get him away from the Menials and bring him here, we might be able to save him from himself and gain you a psionic ally.
Maybe we're interested. Where do we find the menials?
They have a dive near the capital South Station.
And they're dealing in empathics, right? What's their source? They aren't just randomly panning the malls, are they?
All I know is that they're strip mining pure emotion from the patients in a mental hospital. I don't know which hospital. For that matter, it might be a no-name CRISPR. Just keeping the patients alive and scared so the emotions keep coming. The menials have to be stopped. And you can help me.
Why should we?
Because that's my price for helping you with Splits. You bring him here, and I'll see that he helps you. The menials aren't empaths. They don't care about anything, so they have to employ collector units. They call them diggers. They help them harvest emotional energy. If you can bring me one of the diggers, I'm sure I can add a cyberfry to it that will stop them. Help me stop the menials and bring Splits to me, and I'll make certain he helps you.